shapeless, like water. Now you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow or it can crash.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Birds and Bots podcast. This is episode 13, I think, off my head. Today I'm here with one of my economic fellows, students, peers. His full name is
Matthew Chapman.
And Matthew Chapman is from...
I'm from Sun Peaks. Sun Peaks by way of Ontario.
Cool. And you don't need to worry about that. It's just kind of like a conversation.
I keep leaning into it like there's a microphone or something. All right, cool.
So the whole point of my podcast, I kind of threw him into this. He wasn't really planned, but he was here helping me study today. I kind of go with kind of things of, what are you studying at TRU? And then I'll let you answer that.
Yeah, all right. Well, years ago, well, not years ago, I guess, but I went to TRU I was doing adventure tourism at the time, as I'm still a bit of a ski bum, a snowboard bum, and I thought I would try to make a go of it. And the more I got into it, the more I realized that it's a totally shallow, narcissistic profession, and
the tourism program.
It wasn't what I was looking to do, let's just say. And so I was starting to become interested in political things. I was watching Iranians get slaughtered by their government, while our fellow residents in BC decided to riot over a hockey game, and it was just fucked up.
That was the 2012 Stanley Cup, right?
And I couldn't see why we were putting so much importance on this thing when people were getting killed over stuff that I take for granted in my life every day. So I thought I would try to figure out what's going on in the world. And then the head gaskets in my car went before I was supposed to go back full time into political science and stuff. So I did more seasons on the ski hill, maximizing utility, as economists like to talk about. And as I'm getting a little bit older, I thought it would be my time to roll the dice and see how academics would be. Mostly because my life apart from school is fantastic. Apart
from school, I don't know.
Oh, apart from school, like my life in the ski industry is fucking amazing. Like, I had the absolute best day maximizing personal utility. But like I said, the adventure tourism is a little shallow, and is maybe missing the big picture that in 30-40 years there may not be snow around to ski on. Sure. And now I think what's probably kept me in the program at TRU, other than the professors and my peers, of course, because those are big draws for me. I just totally forgot what I was talking about.
Oh, what's keeping you in political science?
I'm doing well. Like I've done my best to try to avoid responsibility and to try to maximize my self-interest, I guess. And that stuff doesn't mean as much anymore. I'm interested in finding out what's going on in the world and
kind of get back in a different sense.
It seems that I have at least a bit of an aptitude towards this thing that I'm interested in. So, nothing ever happens unless you take a chance. You've got 100% chance of failure if you don't go for whatever it is you want to go for. And for me, that's just academics, and we'll just see kind of where the cards fall after that. And it's also I'm older now, so I'm not drawn to the same things, and maybe I'm more interested in the big questions out there, other than how many more days skiing am I gonna get?
Do you want to put it into skiing? You think
no, absolutely not.
Not into skiing, but do you want to look into I know we're just talking about outside. They took an environmental class with
Yeah.
Joel Woods, and
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
do you think you want to work in
Big shout out to Joel.
Yeah. Do you think you will ever like work on policies to ensure environmental regulations to ensure the ski industry's around in 40 years, or do you want to just move into something more like what global policies?
Well,
on
I
other
mean,
things.
it really seems like global warming is something that we're not going to be able to control.
Sure.
You know, we're going to be able to adapt to that, and you know, I mean, I have read of certain things that are being done in terms of like, what is it, geofor? No, it's like humanity altering the environment to produce more snow.
Like terraforming.
Yeah, or
yeah.
like one of the crazy things that I read about was actually the idea of shooting salt water into the clouds to make them more reflective. So
Interesting.
it'll reflect the ultraviolet rays
Yeah,
more,
yeah.
or just like what is it, the carbon capture?
Yeah.
No, it's
But there is a carbon capture program, but if there's something else.
no, some of the one of the technologies I've read about is you burn a fuel source, and then you collect the energy as well as the carbon dioxide that goes off.
Okay.
Like or one of the coolest things, actually, I saw. Big shout out to CBC, by the way. I'm gonna do a lot of shout outs today.
Okay.
I feel it. But there was a company that was making cinder blocks, concrete blocks, out of, or they were using carbon dioxide to treat or to cure the blocks so that they would be, they'd be solid.
Stronger.
Yeah,
or-
and apparently they're stronger, and I mean, anybody listening here probably fact checked what I'm saying, but it's like it's stronger, it takes less time to make it, and it's like carbon neutral.
consuming carbon.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
well, I should say
absolutely.
neutral, yeah.
And the company that was doing it, they had different projects. One of the things they were doing is they were building kind of like a dummy hospital. Like you build like the building to make sure that it performs up to certain codes, and it has, it's safe for people to go in. It's not going to just.
That's really
It's
interesting.
not going to be like a building in China where it
Is
just
that doing
dissolves.
that here in Canada, or is that America?
I
or-
want to say it's in Canada, man. Yeah, absolutely. I want to say it's in Ontario, or maybe even like Windsor or something like that. I don't know. People out there, just fact check my shit.
Well, don't worry. My audience is small. Like 12 people watch these, and that's sometimes
Each of
they
you
watch
count.
it.
Each of you count.
They do. I love you guys, but it's not like, I mean, maybe in like 30 years this might be like everyone checking every one of my videos. But I'm not
No, it's
worried.
cool. Like
Yeah.
it's like this is like a fingerprint that will be left by you
Yeah.
for conceivably an infinite amount of
Yeah.
time, right?
Unless climate destroys all the servers and all the things that hold this data. But it's been a really fun way for me to just kind of talk to interesting people, kind of get some question formats in.
Oh, I'm
learn
flattered.
about people's
I'm
lives.
absolutely flattered. You probably don't know me very well.
No, I don't, but it's cool. So you got into it from the Iran. Have you been really interested in other things? Like, are you more interested than in foreign kind of topics, or are you more interested in how the government in Canada should react foreignly, or?
Oh man, that's a tough one, because I think that that our government will, and this is just my subjective opinion, but our government won't do things to be the better country internationally.
No
They
middle power anymore.
Well, I think that middle power rests heavily on the fact that it backs up domestic initiatives. If the people at home aren't happy, they're going to vote in someone that's got a different idea. So
Well, it's obviously, even in relation to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you could have one for a government where the first thing is stability, or even in the class we're taking right now, foreign policy, it's the statesman goals are...
shout out to Rob Hanlon.
Yeah. Hey, Rob, you'll be on here eventually. But the statesman goals are prosperity, stability, and security.
Yeah, sure.
Right? So, like, that's the very bottom. And then when you get that up, if you... Depending on who's in office, i.e., let's say we are the perfectly prosperous, security, and stable country, and say Trudeau is in office, then policies will be related to what Trudeau wants at that time. Because the prime minister has so much power in Canada, but Trudeau is a multicultural / globalist / Western liberal / all these things, and those policies.
I think the list keeps getting bigger too.
Oh yeah, of course.
There's more hyphens thrown on.
Yeah, but I think it's I think we all are in a way, as both economists and political scientists, in realist terms or in homo economists, we are rational beings, right?
Sure.
We are rationally doing what is best for ourselves, even if doing drugs makes you feel right, or going up on snowboarding feels good at the moment, or doing something crazy like killing someone. You rationalize killing them because they did something stupid to you.
Oh man, it's the rational and irrational thing.
I don't think rational is immoral. I don't think rational has to line with morality, though.
No,
I think
no,
rational is
absolutely
you make rationality.
Yeah, sure.
I don't think anyone's irrational. I think they're just weird rational choices to people who aren't that person.
Well, it's like the idea of the guy that wins the lottery and buys a gold throne for himself.
Yeah.
Like, that is some fucking irrational shit.
Unless he's always wanted to be a king.
Yeah, you know what? I guess you can always rationalize to yourself.
That's the
anything,
point,
right?
The economists want to, and probably realists, they want to try and imagine what other people are doing because they want to imagine there are certain rational things. Like, you will buy food for yourself because you need to eat. Then again, some people buy a shirt for a homeless person instead of buying it for themselves because rationally they want to be altruistic, even if that's not what they're doing.
But no, in terms of framing things in an economics context, yeah, absolutely, people are rational. Let's just
maybe, and sometimes they're not, obviously, but it's you can rationalize it yourself. I think my opinion is wrong, or at least not wrong, but economists will say that's not how you work.
You know what, man? I never want my opinion to be right, but when it is, I definitely get like a smug sense of self-satisfaction. Like, yeah, I knew that. I knew that. Told you so.
Yeah.
It's fucking petty and it's terrible, but
it's human.
But it's one of these things with, like, you know, taking some of the courses that we're doing is like, you know, some of our professors are fucking dead on about stuff.
Sure.
Like,
sure.
A big shout out to Derek Cook, by the way. You know, you start one of his courses with just like
no understanding of something.
No, it's like you're being thrown all of this information and all this shit that you've never heard about, like fucking the Dutch Revolution under Thomas. You don't know what the fuck he's talking about, or if he's like, yeah, you don't know what's up or down.
Yeah.
And then right towards like the last month or so, it all just
Clicks.
ties together.
Yeah.
Or he'll be talking about stuff like U.S. involvement in Syria, let's say, and sort of the rationale behind that, and it's or at least in my opinion, it's very much close to the truth. It feels a lot like conspiracy theory when you get into his class, no matter what you're doing.
It's just a different theory perspective to look at.
Yeah, and like I think one of the most important things is to well, or at least for his classes, and I can't remember if it's in each of the classes that he does, but for our philosophy of politics class, like one of the first things he had written down was, you know, don't take what I have said as the truth. You know, and that's been the biggest bonus for me trying to get out of a ski bum mentality into that of a political scientist is that there's so many different takes, whether it's some really crazy fucking shit or whether it's like it's the truth. And I appreciate that. You know, I think not everybody really digs his teaching style or anything like that. You know, and people just got their own things about different folks, and you know what.
Well, the thing about Cook for sure, and I attribute it to Kading in a different way. While they're trying, and I'll attribute this to Rob in a different way. So Rob's really beneficial to me in that he tries his best to make you figure out what you want to think.
Yeah.
He makes you want you do. And Derek has his opinions, and he's not shy about those. And he's not saying it's the right answer, but he's giving you this new perspective, and he's not lying to you about Rob not telling you what that might be going on. He just gives you one.
Yeah,
and you can agree or not agree with it. And Kading's more like, I don't think he's a nihilist, but he's like, well, look what America's doing. They're killing their people and failing with health insurance. So he gives you one that, like, look at how bad these people are, instead of, like, not explaining the complexities. Well, he does, but it's not like he's trying to tell you, look at how messed up the world is.
Yeah. No, I've thoroughly enjoyed my time at TRU just for those three guys. I mean, I haven't finished a course with Rob yet, but I've had Terry and Derek for multiple courses, and yeah, man, and they speak the truth, dude. You know, they speak the truth to power. I mean,
And I think
if anybody's listening or not, I don't know, but like,
I want to get them on here eventually, so they might listen to these videos from the backlogs.
And you know, I'm glad that I'm being taught this side of realism or structural realism or whatever flavor of realism you want to call it, right? Because I think they're all kind of revolving around that same idea that, you know, the system we're looking at is this fucking chaotic world full of states who are all pursuing survival.
Self-interests.
Pursuing survival, and a lot of that is just dependent on your capabilities, your economic capabilities, your military capabilities, whatever.
And then here's something you can answer it because it's also on the exam. What's the difference between realism and structural realism?
I don't fucking really know. I think one is just a more modern version.
Sure.
You know,
the only thing that I would take from it, from what my research is, to imagine structural realism is that they think things like NGOs or INGOs like the UN matter, but realists would be like, no, if the US doesn't give a shit, they don't matter.
No, it's about the states as opposed to
these new institutions, these global ones. Like, does Bretton Woods matter? Does the WTO matter? Do they actually have bite? I would say they do, because they can make actions that affect things. But if the unipolar power wanted to screw them, maybe they don't have power.
Yeah.
But I think they have power in a way to affect other nations. They can affect many African states or Latin American states. They can even affect Southeast Asian states when they provide these loans on like agreements. So I think they don't have the same kind of power as the US, but realistically they have a goal, and that goal can be influenced because they have power to the extent of their organization.
I think their power it exists because the unipolar entity wishes it to be so. You know, it's kind of like their co-signer, I guess, or like the mafia used to do it in their casinos where they'd hire the fall guy. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like they'd hire, you know, nice smart lawyer fellow who's, you know, is like, oh, you know, let's come and gamble, have a great time, and you know, nobody is any the wiser that the mafia is skimming money in the back. You know what I mean?
Until the unipolar power basically cut off corruption because they can.
And it's tough to not see the world through that unipolar lens, or at least until China comes of age, or you know, and then it's like, well, who do you want the unipolar power to be? Do you really want it to be China?
To my viewers, just
Chinese, and like big shout out to the Chinese listeners out there.
But to my viewers, just in case you're off kilter, because not everyone's a poli-science student who might listen to this. So unipolar power obviously just means when in the entire world of 200 countries, one country has more clout in a massive way than others. So in the Cold War period, it was a bipolar world. So two, where the Soviets and the US were considered equal, and before that, when France, England, and Germany were fighting, there was three powers, or a multipolar power, where they all had enough clout in the same sense. Just so everyone knows,
we were in there too.
Yeah,
and multipower times. You know,
well, we weren't the
number
great
four,
power,
number four, baby.
Yeah. But I just want them to know, just so they're not like.
It's like the idea of I think unipolar power. Just think of America.
Yeah,
I think that's the term that was basically invented to kind of describe what's going on there.
I'm pro of a rise in China. Because I think the world runs better on a bipolarity world. Yeah. Maybe not for the unipolar power, but I think Canada has benefited off when the Soviet period by being able to step out of the shades and be like, we'll help countries we get benefit. The U.S. helped us when we wanted to provide resources to these other countries. We were seen better, and the U.S. promoted us. They didn't shut us down because we would say we're fighting communism. So,
well, it's also we were able to do those things so that the United States didn't have to worry about them.
Exactly, but they even gave us they gave us power too. They'd almost like give us.
absolutely, man.
And I think with the rise in China, I'm not against China, and I in no sense against them, but I think if China and the U.S. become this new dual power against each other, countries like Canada or any countries will be able to either work with the U.S. or with China, and other countries will be able to rise up because they will get benefits from these new hegemons.
Sure. The China. It's a tough one because I mean I guess I look at it as a really tough thing because I'm not a Chinese citizen,
Sure.
so I'm seeing things through the lens of
Western views.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Western preconceptions of how a government is supposed to be structured and liberty and not being afraid that you'll disappear for re-education. And should I
might disappear because your car
alleged disappearances for re-education.
But I mean, then again, at their side, they see these political disharmonies, months of
man.
governments closed down, crack epidemics in your country because the government's not stepping up.
Just in Canada, the way that we treated First Nations folks.
Still, man.
Yeah, and still do.
Yeah.
So I guess I got a question for you.
Sure.
So what do you think has happened with Jody Raybould?
You'd have to give me context. I don't know.
Okay,
about her.
she's the lady, the Attorney General, who's in not really hot water, but the SNC-Lavalin, and basically, I believe the deal was that some anonymous source had cited that SNC had tried to get the government to give them some kind of power from criminal prosecution when it comes to like the dirty, greasy shit that they're up to.
And I assume they played it off as security, national interests.
No, I think a lot of the narrative seems to be around the fact that it's like thousands of people's jobs in Quebec are if SNC-Lavalin goes under, which I don't think they are, I think they're too big to let that happen. There's a lot of people with their jobs on the line, and votes are big in Quebec.
Yeah.
So
federal elections this year, so
and she hasn't officially come out with anything. The only statement that I can remember
wasn't she like removed? Didn't Trudeau like basically like make her disappear?
Okay, no. So the deal was that she was Attorney General. And she gets moved to Veterans Affairs, which is kind of fucked up because like everybody seems to be talking about it like it's a demotion, but Veterans Affairs is extremely important.
I think it is, but if it's not what you want to do, if you get moved around, that means you're now not applying the job that you were supposed to.
She doesn't have that choice though.
Well, I know, but I mean, since the Prime Minister has the power to just remove anyone.
Okay, so here's the thing that one of the things that I've heard, and this is just conjecture, and this is just things that I've heard, is that people think it might have been her that leaked it because she wasn't happy about the transfer.
That's what I mean, the fact that she was probably talking about that internally first. So internal channels were on, which we didn't hear about, and then Trudeau's like, if you keep on, maybe not Trudeau, but like the whole advisors of the PMO office would be like if you keep on this motion, we're leaving you from this area that you can affect it. Because we see that you have a different idea of the PMO. He could have probably kicked her out of the whole office. But he might have thought that was a more.
Well, she's the only First Nations lady. Or she's the only First Nations and lady. I think maybe even First Nations that is in the Liberal cabinet. So people
don't they have a full 50-50? Isn't that Trudeau's?
Oh goals? No, sorry, it's women, but it's all white women.
Not the First Nation. Okay.
But I think that she's the only representative, and I think some people. Are feeling that she was given the job because she for a government that's trying to push a narrative of being inclusive and being
equity, I think, or equality.
Yeah, absolutely. She is a jewel in the crown. She's the top, or was the top lawyer in the entire AG is the top lawyer, right? One of the things that I had heard was that it could have been, and this could just be misinformation. This could be stuff by the Liberal Party to try to, I don't know, whatever, to try to spread disinformation, which is not out of the realm of possibility, but that she wasn't happy with, that she saw it as a demotion, so she leaked that this business about SNC Lavalin. And, you know, with her not, with the Trudeau government, not, what is it, the privilege, you have to be granted privilege to speak to
the chair
MPs or something like that
when you're sitting at the
party, because she's still liberal. Like, that's the only thing that I've heard from her, is that she is still happily a member of the Liberal Party. But it really, and it's weird because, like, if people are talking about a cover up, you know, they still have that. They're still, I think they're locked out of bidding for government contracts for 10 years.
Okay.
If they're guilty of this thing that they're trying to, or I don't know. It's
SNC Lavalin, you mean?
Yeah. So I believe the idea is they're trying to get, if you've done something wrong, you could admit it, but not be charged criminally.
Okay.
I think that's the thing. And for a company that, you know, that not too many people really know what they're up to, myself included. Like, the only thing that I knew about them was
transportation.
No, man, in the Libyan Revolution, basically kind of the murdering of Gaddafi by kind of NATO forces. Well, not by them, but
they allowed it to happen.
They facilitated the process. SNC Lavalin had been building facilities for the Libyans, and so it's one of these things that it's like, it's not a torture house, but it is a torture house.
Okay. Well, what they do with it is what it is, but it can be basically easily.
It's a military installation, basically.
Yeah.
And that towards the end of it, when Gaddafi's relatives are all being rounded up or killed or whatever, there was a lady employee who was arrested in Mexico trying to smuggle a relative of Gaddafi. And then SNC Lavalin just like disavowed any knowledge of her and hung her out to dry. So she's, you know, she's kind of aiding and abetting an international war criminal, which is kind of weird for, you know, a somewhat middle-aged lady from Quebec to be doing. You know, it's a little weird how they just happen to be in each other's sort of orbits.
The elite circles.
Yeah, and so it really sounds like SNC Lavalin is kind of like our Halliburton, I guess.
Okay.
Like, I don't know if they have like a Dick Cheney-esque figure running it or whatever, or Donald Rumsfeld, or if any of those war criminals are involved in that shit. But yeah, it's weird because it's like a lot of this stuff is on allegation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And people are just so hyperpolarized right now that they're just like, they just jump to people's defenses or jump to criticize people like that, like a snap, right? And they're not.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess the Trudeau government, I mean, they might have been complicit. It was before Trudeau, it would be the Harper government. So I guess in one sense, you know, if you find the problem like this and you bring it up, it could turn out badly for the Liberal Party in one sense.
Oh, and I think
they're threatening loss of jobs if the government doesn't support them. But
I think they're also big political donators too.
I'm sure it is. I don't know to which party. It's probably whatever party benefits them. Obviously,
I'm guessing. I think it's the Liberal Party, because really Liberals are more centrists. You know, they play the left hand to try to pull the Green votes, and maybe pull some NDP, because, you know, I mean, it's going to be interesting. Like, there's a lot of, like, it seems like every time that the news cycle goes through, the 24-hour news cycle goes through, the Liberals right now are just digging themselves in deeper with this whole corruption thing. Even if nothing happened, they're making it look like they're covering some shit up or whatever. And it's weird too, because you've even got, like, normally when the Liberal Party decides to put out the party line, that's it, right? Like, everybody toes it. You know, everybody gets whipped into line, and that's it. And there seems to be some liberal politicians that are like, all right, we got to have an investigation into this. But it seems to me like that is just you're satiating people's people's desire to like have some kind of government accountability.
I
Like,
think it might just be along the lines of Trudeau being, as they call him, the sunshine, or the smiling dictator, where I think he might have not trapped himself in a corner, but by trying to be an inclusive Liberal Party member, he might have tried to stay away from the same old like party line towing that both Harper and Christian did, and maybe he's giving them more of a leash to show that he's a more equitable prime minister. But
Yeah.
now it's kind of biting him in the ass now that this is the year of the election.
well, like, yeah, I think you're absolutely on the money with that. And it's, I mean, I personally would just rather them sort of not try to put on that illusion, because it's like
It's politics. It's basically
yeah,
acting.
but I think people are looking for honesty now.
I think
You
people
know what
always
I mean?
been. I think they've always wanted honesty, but I think at the back of their mind they've always wanted someone to lie to them.
No, I'm talking about like warts and all included. Like Justin Trudeau may have I don't know, fetish for being fucking walked on. Or
I don't
something
know.
like that.
I think-
and if we knew that, and if he's like, hey guys, this is what I'm about, I'm into some freaky shit, I'd be like, all right, man.
I don't know. I think it would be the opposite with the movements of the Me Too movement and the movements of like the highly polarized left.
Oh, yeah.
and the
No,
highly
no,
polarized
it-
right.
it would-
I think people don't want. I think if you have a single flaw, you are out. And I think you have. I don't think if you are allowed to be proof of anything, you're in a way worse situation.
Well, I mean, maybe this is going. Maybe I'm just looking at this through the Trump lens. People saw all.
But he's a
his-
liar through and through.
Oh yeah, but like there's like when you're on video camera
Sure.
and you're recorded and people just really didn't give a shit, I guess, or yeah, I don't know. It's. I mean, I like everybody else thought that there was no way this guy is doing it, and I don't even think he really wanted. I don't even think
Trump?
he wanted it.
I think Trump had like Roger Stone, who's under litigation right now, and all there's a Manafort and all those other guys. They're pretty.
No shout outs to those guys. Those guys are pricks.
But like they're pretty well aware of the situation America's in, and then I didn't really know much about the American politics before, but now that I'm looking back at it, I mean, from job losses in the Midwest to issues in the south of Florida and New Orleans to like obviously the normal states, but those swing states, there's just been a loss of like economic prosperity, health prosperity, like future, like people are dying more often. So like the idea is, and like jobs aren't coming back across the states. So in a sense, I think like he was the only president calling for change, while Hillary Clinton was still stating like we're one of the best countries in the world, we'll improve, we'll keep reforming, but it wasn't about like to change. It was just about like the status quo.
Yeah.
And I think that was the failure of the Democrats.
Well,
Any party, if you're not offering change, there's always people. You want to get the most angry voters, and the most angry voters are people who are in a shitty situation.
Yeah.
And in every election, even if we were almost the best country in the world, there's always going to be 20% of the
or they're
population.
old too.
Yeah, the people with a shitty time, and you just need the 20% to vote you in. You know? I don't think people want you to show your truth and your fetishes and your weird ideas, because then they might. It's too on the strength. I think it'd be better for the country, but I don't think people want it.
People like to gossip about shit,
Politics in the
yeah.
West.
You know what? I guess if anybody had a real answer as to why things are the way they are, we would have an answer to this. But it's just one of those weird moments in time, I guess, where things just we're living in the absurd.
Sure.
Up is down, left is right.
I've always been a huge. I'm like a history major as well, and
Sure.
like, man, like we're not even the weirdness of now is nothing. Like, in the 1800s, we had like worker classes with children working in slave factories, even like in the West and shit like that, and like riots over religious practices, and like, and most people were so poor they were barely getting bread and stuff.
Slavery
and like,
mode of production, man.
like the
Shit.
aristocracy just being brutal and shit. Like,
No,
even now, it's pretty normal now to
yeah.
understand that we have benefits.
Or man, even if you were to juxtapose our time versus like the beginning, like the dawn of the 21st century
Yeah.
versus like the dawn of the 20th century. You know what I mean? Like the first 2 decades of the 20th century
Yeah.
saw, first 4 decades saw two like global wars where fucking tens of millions of people die, maybe more than that.
Yeah.
Countries are destroyed. People are exterminated.
Lines are drawn up.
Yeah,
New lines.
and in those interwar periods, you got like the Spanish flu.
Yeah.
Fucking
100
worldwide
million.
pandemics. Fucking people not living past 35. Fucking mass famines, and
Yeah.
we're moving past that.
Or at least it hasn't hit us. We've had a pretty nice streak for 70 years.
Yeah,
Even the people who've had a really shitty time, overall the world has had a pretty nice
yeah.
streak.
I mean, despite the levels of inequality, like hundreds of millions of people have been raised out of poverty.
Yeah.
Like diseases that would have killed us like 100 years ago are no big deal.
Like this.
I mean,
flu that's
except for
been
those
going
stupid anti-vaxxers. No shout outs to anti-vaxxers.
I know, right?
By the way.
Oh my god.
Did you see the thing on kids with fucking measles or
Yeah,
mumps?
Vancouver.
Yeah, and like the dads, and not to be overly critical, but the dad's like, well, I just didn't trust the information.
Yeah.
Well, how much research did you do into the information you were looking for?
Yeah.
Or there was I think he was from Alberta. There's a father father and mother who are naturopath or whatever you want.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to call them, fake scientists, fake doctors. Their son, he caught something terrible, right? And they were giving him like hot pepper flakes and oregano oil. I mean, I could be wrong on the
Oregano flakes or no?
They were not giving him medicine, and they were not taking him to the doctor.
Yeah.
And their kid, I think by the time they took him in, he was gone.
Far gone.
And 2 years later, I want to say, the court system decided that the judge didn't understand some part of the case, so they let this guy off. Him and his wife. And the smug son of a bitch was on television saying that this is just justification for me being, persecuted.
As his dad, as the son dies.
Yeah, man. And I can understand. Autism's a scary thing. It seems like
It's not even scary. You just don't want it.
well, people don't understand about it. They don't understand like I work with or not anymore. He's older now, but
Sure.
I had a little brother through Big Brothers and Big Sisters.
Yeah.
I was doing the mentor thing, right? And when actually, you know what? No, I probably shouldn't talk about it.
It's all good. It's all good.
But needless to say, he's a fine young man and is totally cool with social situations and stuff. So things change. Things are not always like cut and dry, I guess, or just black and white.
I've met a couple of people with autism, and it's more like just like another form of what's the word called? It's a spectrum, but like people with autism have actually really fine lives, and like they just get really into the things they love, and like there's a lot. I mean, it's the spectrum, so there's more intensities, but like they can have good, fulfilling lives and fall in love and work at jobs. Sometimes they do certain jobs even better than people who are normal because they they can get really passionate about things that like they don't have the same kind of apathy that like normal people have because that's just the way their brains. Some people have even called it a mutation of the benefit of humankind, just for like a lot of really smart people have had forms of autism and or there's autism is part of it, but there's what's the spectrum called? The
oh man.
Right?
I just know it as the autism spectrum.
Yeah.
You're either sort of
really
highly functioning
or
it can be a really serious thing. When I worked I guess going back to kind of my time in the ski industry, I worked with there's an adaptive sports program at Sun Peaks. Big shout out to the adaptive sports program. We'd work with young men and women who would be I guess a little bit more on the severe end of things, and so it was it was tough for them, I guess.
Sure.
But yeah, I noticed that they were able to concentrate on things like to get like because I don't know. I mean, I guess it's a bit of a cliche, but in the skiing world and snowboarding world and stuff like that, you often talk about sort of being in the moment.
Sure.
Like you have to be present in the moment, or bad things can happen.
Yeah.
You can crash and get all beat up.
Yeah.
And I found that the young people that were on the autism, or that they were diagnosed as whatever, they were autistic clients, and they would be able to concentrate on stuff like that, on being in the moment. And it was very cool experience.
And even just different thing in a way. We were talking in our class. We just did a topic about Canadian regulation, and in a sense, we're really cool, lucky to live in Canada for like our mental health. And I think autism is on a mental health scale. I have no clue. I assume it would be, but like we live in a really cool country that even supports people in autism issues, and like there's programs like yours, and there's programs of all kinds, and special schooling and all that. Maybe there's not as much. Then again, if an economist, it's the supply to demand, and people just want more.
Well, and there's people that want to get involved.
Yeah.
And that's
we don't call them demons or monsters or kill them like the gays in Chechnya right now, because they're not part of our society. We're
shout
trying
out to the gays in Chechnya.
Yeah, to the gays in Chechnya. We're trying to be a better society and inclusive to every human, no matter what. Not saying autism is a problem, but to any situation, from people with disabilities to sicknesses to mental health, to depression, anxiety. We're getting better.
People that actually give a shit too. There's people that are that specialize specifically for developmental disorders. And big shout out to all those folks.
I really enjoy in Rob's classes a lot recently. Not recent. I don't know about recently, if he's always had it. He often tries to remind people to try and be empathetic in our political science class. So like, be empathetic. Imagine the lives of anyone, across the world, from, as you were talking about the Iranians earlier, to being empathetic for our fellow man. And when thinking about your own task, I think the growth of empathy, the thought of it, is a very new thing, maybe 30, 40 years. But it's really becoming involved from politics. I don't see it in economics yet, because they'll be rational that we're giving the supply and demand of people. But it's there in its own weird economic way.
Well, it seems sometimes in economics like we're all just inputs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we're just a product of labor, or we're just a cog in the machine, if you will. And I think that I think a lot of economists are aware of that, especially now that the environment is now being factored into the study of economics. So, it's not so much that we're doing all this fucked up shit to a planet with ourselves removed.
No.
This is affecting us, and so this is what we need to do to
right the externalities.
Yeah. And I like that. I think that I think that I would have had I been a neoclassical economist, or from the fucking London School of Economics from like 1908 or something like that, maybe that's not what we would have been concerned with. And that's the why I'm studying what I'm studying, is how we're going to make this little ball we're on a better place for us all. I mean, it sounds a little cheesy and cliched for sure, but fuck yeah, man, I want to snake the world.
Heck
shit,
yeah,
dude.
Yeah, at least change it for the better, man.
Yeah, man.
I have I can do this right now actually as well. So I've been doing a thing recently about it's about passions.
Yeah.
And that's what I've actually done on a couple of these ones. So I built it off like a pyramid.
Yeah.
So at the top of your pyramid, it's based on the business idea of, you have your vision, you have your mission, you have your objective, and then you have your path. So the vision
sounds very linear. Sounds like something I would like.
Yeah, and like at the very top of it, it's like your vision would be, for me, I've had since I was a kid, I want to change the world. As I've gotten older, I'm like, well, how do I incorporate that into people? So my mission is now, I want to improve the lives of individuals through process, i.e. now I'm doing political science, and then my objective breaks down into that, and like, well, I'm studying political science and economics, so how can I use that? Well, policy is probably the best way I can do this. Yeah. And then my path is, well, I'm still on the path thing. I haven't found out where I want to fit into that, but it's like I have to find, well, now I'm a student. That would be my path. I'm here learning to get better for when my next path is doing the next thing to achieve my vision.
Well, the thing is, like, in this, the illustrious social science political science, you know, everybody's very heavily opinionated.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of times those opinions are not necessarily based on fact, or they're misrepresented, or they're just, you know, it's just bad information, and
Sure.
people maybe don't
Fake news, Russian troll farms.
Yeah, something like that.
What's Alex Jones say? The government's turning the frogs gay, putting
you know,
chemicals in the
man,
water.
I guess I should finish up with the thought that I was making there.
Sure.
But you know, everybody talks a good game, but not everybody knows what they're talking about.
Sure.
You know, we can all. I think the best way I've ever heard it sort of described is you can be entitled to your own opinion, but you can't be entitled to your own facts.
I think that's Oswald too, isn't it?
Yeah, very probably.
Patton Oswald, the little fat comedian.
Oh yeah, probably. Big shout out to Patton Oswald.
Yeah, great guy.
Yeah, I think he's
hilarious.
he's buddies with Maynard from Tool. Big shout out to Maynard from Tool.
Yeah.
All these people I don't know, but
Hey, you never know, man.
I enjoy their work, and I like both of those. But
I think we hit just we're at 45 minutes. We can do
Okay.
45 or an hour, your choice.
shoot, whatever, man. I'm fine to keep talking.
Sure.
I love airing my brain out,
Yeah, 15 more minutes, and then like
misinforming the
then
public.
I
at
have to
large.
I have to write out that midterm still. So
Yeah. No, that's
you're
all-
done.
No, it's all good. And so with this political science stuff, I don't want to be just another loudmouth, you
Sure.
know, just another talking head. And you know, I'm not sure whether I'll ever have like the final answer to anything, but you know, it feels like I'm getting a better understanding of the world. And the more I can understand the world, the more I can fit myself into it.
Sure.
You know.
Good conversations like this.
Yes,
I
yeah.
could have done this 5 years ago before I came to school. I mean, I might have had
Oh,
some
no, man.
bullshit ideas, but like, I have like theories and backgrounds and ideas that can kind of like get me into these conversations.
Well, sometimes on the ski hills, your conversation, it's a little shallow. You
Yeah.
know, there's not much beyond. Oh man, how's your day? Oh, day was righteous, bro.
I'll get some coffee, man. Or
Talk like
hot chocolate.
talk like a cliche. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, there's. I mean, I don't think everybody is going to be drawn to looking for answers, I guess.
But there's ever like this is something I've had even since before I was going to school. I worked at Subway for about 3 years, and you know, I've always had the thought that like, man, the Subway it's important because I feed construction
Big shout out to
workers.
Subway.
Yeah, big shout out. Not Jared though.
No, Jared.
But like I fed people, like they came in,
Yeah.
I gave them sandwiches, their construction, to doctors, to lawyers, to newspaper, and like it's the ski bums are doing their shit, but like their entertainment, they're having fun themselves, they're staying exercise, they have a job probably
Yeah,
to
man.
pay for that ski job, and they're happy, so they're working harder whenever they go back to work. Through the utility has been risen by a snow place, and then they can do
Sure.
that, and they're helping society some way.
Yeah,
You know, they might give
absolutely.
advice, they might save someone's life by saying something to someone. You know, we all have this part, even if we're not trying to make policy or trying to like help people with autism or just fucking serving Subway.
Well, I mean, one of the like we were talking about, I want to save the world as much as anybody else.
Sure.
But a lot of the really important stuff that gets done is things that are done locally. Like I had talked about
Sure,
my
yeah.
work with Big Brothers and Big Sisters in Kamloops. Big shout out to Big Brothers and Big Sisters and the Bluebird Day Fund.
Yeah.
And you know, being able to bring positivity, and most importantly for myself, being able to share the thing that I'm most passionate about in the world, is that's it. That's the payment right there. You know,
Yeah.
to see somebody, and also you know, the connection that I have with my little brother. He's much taller and heavier than I am right now, so he's not. Anyway, technically he's my little brother, but you know, we have a solid relationship still, and it's been, you know, it has made the prospect of making change that much easier to kind of see.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, with what we're doing in the political science, I mean, the I guess the change is on more of a macro scale, but
Yeah.
you know, you got to start somewhere, and to get your passion stoked on helping other people, you got to go and help other people.
Yeah.
You know, it can't just be this grand goal that, you know, I want to help people. Well, that's fantastic, but you know, how are you going to actualize this?
Mm.
And for me, part of that was sharing what I love most in the world with someone that might feel the same. And luckily for me, that there was. But even with that, it was never really about like getting them on the ski hill. I guess like that was just kind of icing on the cake, I
Yeah.
suppose.
Sorry, are you talking about a person or about working with this organization?
Oh, with the person, because I only worked with the one
Okay.
person.
Okay. I was just yeah, and like, I mean, the term that comes most out of Rob, and I firmly believe, even though I don't want to be in it, is that civil society makes a country, or at least makes a Western country what it is. And these small organizations like your ski Big Brothers, to like to Morton's like what's the word called? To Morton's band camp, to like the YMCA. There's all these civil society where you as individuals feel, and where China maybe doesn't have it, maybe it does. I don't know China as well as I probably should, but like we have the society built up on these little things that make every town have power within themselves.
Yes.
So I think it's really interesting. Cool. I think it's a pretty good ending. So I guess usually at the end I usually finish with so you're new to the podcast. Do you have any ideas that would be nice to either for a listener to my interest in these kind of things, or anything you think could be improved as you went through this?
No, man. No, this was very free flowing, and
Cool.
There wasn't. I mean, usually when I'm talking about stuff, I'll forget what I'm talking about halfway through and have to be reminded. So that's not unusual. There was no real dead air. So yeah, I think in terms of execution, I think good job, man. I was honored to be on your voice.
Thanks. I'll tell you when it's uploaded, either through class or not. Hey everybody, thanks so much for listening again. Lots of love to all you guys. And don't forget, keep trying, keep pushing, keep going. It's gonna get done one day or another. Adios.